quarantine.
Okay. Mohsin, if you can mute yourself, that will be great. Thanks a lot. Okay. Great. So, how is your Sunday going, and where are you all from? If you can write in the chat box, we will do the testing of the chat box also. So, I am from Ahmedabad. Jay is from New York, and so it's morning there. So, guys, if you can write in the chat box, where are you all from? We will begin there. Okay, Ankur is from Gurugram. Great. So, how many of you had a lockdown today? Because what we were seeing is Bangalore had a lockdown. Lucknow is also in lockdown maybe today, and Kolkata is not allowing anybody to get in the city, so they have blocked all the flights. So how are things around you? Okay, Mohsin is from Maharashtra, Bhavesh is from Gujarat, Arjun is from New York. Okay, no extensive lockdown there. Okay, wait few more minutes to get started. Okay, so we are live on. Okay, so somebody who is using the tools, please don't do that. I have to use the eraser. Okay, great. Okay, it is 5. More people joining in. Okay, so hello everyone, good evening. I am Sahil Shah and we'll be hosting you all today. No lockdown in Gurugram also. And slowly and gradually, I think people will start joining in. We have Jay today with us, and I will be giving a proper introduction after some time once everybody gets in. And we'll begin. So we started the series of lectures just because there were a lot of MBA students around us, and then they were feeling they were doing virtual internships, and at the end of the internships or during the internships, they were not able to get anything, any value out of the internships, because most of the people were given task of digital marketing or those kind of things, and then they were not able to implement those things because the basics were not right and things like that. But due to those reasons, we started off with this thing. And so last week we started with Shirish Patil, who was army veteran. He was major in army, and then he taught us few things last week. Then we had last week. I did a session with LinkedIn. So around LinkedIn, what are the things that we can do? We did a LinkedIn Mastery 1. Those of you who have missed those things can go check out the YouTube channel. You will be able to find those things. Other thing that we did last week was we had a session with Deepak Shukla, who was from London, and we did session with him around how you can do sales online and how you can place yourself in front of others and what you are doing and close the sales. Today we are very fortunate to have Mr. Jay Mandal with us, and he is going to talk a lot around the core values that you all should have, and it is part of his 3-session series. We are very fortunate to have him today, and he will be doing one of those things. And I think after today's session, most of you all will be seeing a lot of change in whatever you perceive or the way you see things, because there are a lot of things which Jay has been doing for last quite some time. And we will begin, I think, formally in a minute or two. Okay, so let me say hi everyone. So if somebody is facing some issue in seeing the meeting, and we also are live on YouTube. So if there are some issues, you can go and check the YouTube live also. Okay, on Netsavvies. I will just place the link here. Okay, and it is 6, so let us start. Hi everybody, good evening. I am Sahil Shah, founder and CEO of Netsavvies Media Company, and we have been doing this series of sessions where we get guest speakers, and they share their thoughts and what are they good at in the session with us. And we have very fortunate today to have Mr. Jay Mandal with us, who is founder of your brand coach, and he has worked with multinationals. Before this, he was heading digital marketing for IBM and Mastercard. And currently, today we are going to talk about core values, so which is part of the 3 series workshop which Jay takes, and he is going to share these all insights with us today. So let us start because it is already 6. And Jay, over to you. I will just stop my screen share and then start with it. Welcome, Jay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I just want to tell you a little bit about why I'm here. Well, the reason why I'm here is Sahil. He sent me a LinkedIn invite. He connected with me in a thoughtful way. We talked a bit, and I noticed that he had something special that he was doing. And we continued to talk. And just a few days ago, I gave him his first piece of business from me. So full circle here. And I know that Sahil wasn't just connecting with me to get business, but nevertheless, he's a genuine person. And I got to sense who he is, what he's about. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. There are a lot of things that you're going to go through as where you can improve. CEO is
Hello.
at any set. The brief.
Okay. So I think we are having some internet issues at Jay's end. He will be joining back soon. So firstly, if you all can write where are you all from, that will be great. And we will begin. And he's just joining back. Wait a second. Okay, he's back. Okay, Vicky is from Delhi. Hello, everybody. Good evening. We have Jay back. There are some issues. So people are from Lucknow, people are from Noida. We had initially people from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Varanasi, great, Indore, Bangalore. Hi, Vishal. Today there's a lockdown in Bangalore. Cuttack, Hyderabad. Avinash is from Jammu and Kashmir. Great, Avinash. Nice to see you. Sanjit Das has just joined. We have people from Haryana.
So I'm back.
Yeah,
so sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to stop my video because my video takes up bandwidth, and we'll just go from there. So I'm going to share my screen. So what I wanted to say was that it's very important to really understand what you have to say. And so I am going to share my screen, and we'll be back to the workshop. So first thing first is we're doing a core values workshop. The objective is to define your core values so you can measure your progress in life and in work by knowing what you stand for. Your vision will become clear only when you can look inside your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Our interests as people evolve, whereas our core values are steadfast and guide us over time. So I want to just tell you a quick story about how I came up with my core values. It turns out that the IBM job that I had, it didn't work out for me. And what happened was I was, after 8 years at MasterCard, I went into a role and I was really excited about the role, but it just didn't align, and it just didn't work out. And my boss at the time gave me a package, because I was more of a marketer, and I was seeing that there was a little bit more of a focus on PR. It did a lot of soul searching. And fast forward to a few after that, I went to a workshop called Reverse Engineering Your Career from Your Passion. And in that workshop, I defined my core values to be candor, curiosity, and collaboration. When I defined those core values, I realized that I couldn't be married anymore, because my wife, at the time, we were married for 10 years, I realized we didn't share in those core values. So I made a decision to leave the marriage. This was after many years of working to address our marriage. And long story short is, when I left, I had the capacity to start the Collective NYC, which is my entrepreneurial venture. I was so consumed by all these things that were going on in my life when married that I wasn't able to really think clearly. And so the core values have been a guide, and they've really helped me along the way. And my hope is that the core values will be your guide as well. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should get a divorce. I'm not suggesting, I'm basically suggesting that you have to define what these things mean to you. But I will say this, I've taken many, many people through this exercise, and one student, for example, did the exercise, and she dropped out of my class. I'm a professor. And why did she drop out of my class? Because she realized after this exercise that she couldn't work in HR anymore. She wanted to be in social work, and she defined the core values, and she just saw that they didn't connect with what she was doing at work. These are tough times, and drastic decisions about work are not necessarily the best move if you have a family to support, or if you're going to support yourself. And determine where you're going to get your satisfaction in life. So maybe it might not be work. Maybe it's some sort of thing you do on the weekends or on the side. But the core values will give you clarity. So the person I'm talking about is now working at a private school with kids, and she's pursuing her social work degree. So going forward, we're going to start the core values exercise. So I'd like you to take out a pen and a paper, and I'd like you to start out by identifying times in your life when you were the happiest. And Sahil, I'd like people so that they can comment and share some stories, because I want to be very clear about this. When you write down the times when you're happiest, I'll tell you a little story of when I did this with someone, and someone said, the time I was happiest was when I was at work, my first job. My boss gave me a lot of autonomy. I could do project management, and I could do marketing, and it was really, really great. And I said to her, was that better than your first kiss? And she said to me, oh, is that what you're talking about? And yes, that is what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the time. It doesn't have to be related to work, to what's exciting for you. And then later in the process, we get into something where we take those core values and we apply them very clearly to what you're trying to achieve. So Sahil, can you open it up and give people an opportunity to share some of their thoughts?
Yeah. So guys, if anybody wants to share what Jay is asking, you can just open your mic and camera, and I will be happy. Or if you can just raise your hand and say when was the last time that you were very happy, or when are you very happy. Let me start with my experience. So when I I'm very happy when I do things which are at a larger scale. So suppose we did Hungry to Food Fest, and we saw around 8,000, 10,000 people in a ground at a time. And then you see there isn't any place in the ground for people to stand. And then also they are there happily enjoying the time. So that was the time which I feel I was very happy. So that was my anybody has their experience where they thought that they were very happy at that time, can share, and then I think
I'm
they
just
can.
gonna add something to that
Yeah.
before others share. Sahil, you were happy because of the outcome,
Yes.
of all your hard work.
Yeah.
So when you think about this, I'd like you to think about uh, what connects with your identity to lead you to that moment. See, there's 3 circles. There's a book called Atomic Habits, and
Yes.
it's a bullseye, and in the center of the bullseye is identity. The next ring is process, and the third is outcome. If you connect to your identity, Sahil, what do you think was the thing that allowed you to be so happy that you were able to deliver something like that at scale?
So I think what I think matters me a lot, or what my identity always true is the level of impact that we are able to create. So when I was heading social media for Andhra Pradesh government, at that time also we used to do campaigns, and sometimes we will be very happy because some campaigns are there which used to impact a lot of people at that time, and then you see change coming in the same ways when we try to do something. We were an Instagram page, and then we got around 30,000 people to be at a festival physically, attend the event and be so happy and have time of their life. So those are the points, or those are the things which I think impact is something which I personally feel is a trait which I relate with a lot. So
Great. I
yeah.
love it. And so that's really great, because guess what, Sahil, you could also buy Instagram followers, but would that be as satisfying? It's sarcastic.
True. So Instagram followers, buying Instagram followers is very easy because, or fake likes and those kind of things are very easy. But when you try to convert those things to some place, or you try to sell them something, or you try to give your vision in some ways, that is where the true impact comes in. So if something is working or not, if there are people able to relate what you are creating and what you are doing, those are the things which I feel are impactful in that way, or where your strength comes in, or where you
Yeah,
see if you are trying to add any value to their lives in a way or not.
that's correct. And so that's where all this stuff comes in, because the more personal you are, like Sahil and I talk all the time about quote unquote tricks that we can do on LinkedIn. And there are plenty of tricks like spacing things out, using emojis, and there's also best practices. Best practices are, what is the call to action and what are you asking people to do? Those are all good things and you should do those things. But if you rely on tricks and you don't have any substance, people tend to figure it out and they don't really want to. Has anything they'd like to share about along the lines of what Sahil shared?
Yeah. So guys, one question which I think Jay asked, and we wanted to do this a two-way interaction, that is why we are doing it in a Zoom meeting and not a webinar format. So if anybody wants to share what was the last time that you were very happy, the more you share, I think we will be able to create something meaningful with this workshop also that we are trying to do. So anybody has anything to share, they can just unmute themselves, and then I think start your video and we will be able to see you. Okay. I think nobody is able to.
Okay, no one's sharing. That's fine. You
I think
shared it.
Himanshu is there. Himanshu
Okay.
would like to.
Yeah. Hi, Sahil. Hi,
Hi.
everyone.
Huh.
Actually, I am not able to share my video for some reason, but I'll just tell you
Yeah,
as to
no issues.
what was the last time I was happy. So I did this. I basically founded this event company, and then I wanted to do like a cause, like a social cause. So what I did was I laid down a campaign called Share a Kheer. where I asked all these influencers, where I send them kheer out through a brand of kheer, and I
Okay.
send them 2 boxes, and I told them, why don't you have one and you give it to somebody who you feel that is a person who is in need of something like a sweet and who's not expecting something, and you giving him something like a kheer or a dessert will make his day. And a lot of influencers took participation in it, and everybody took an active participation. People gave it to their watchmen, people gave it to their maids, people gave it to people who are actually in need, and during the time of lockdown, somebody who's close by. So I really liked it.
That's great. I mean, so that talks about, identity, process, and impact. The identity here is, what is it that, when you think about what you want to do, you guys are MBAs, and you think about what you want to do you want to just show up to work and collect the paycheck? Some people do, and that's okay. But when you do something like this and you're really discovering an insight about your audience and you're understanding that what you're doing can have an impact, it really makes you happy. It also makes others happy. So that's great. All right, let's move on. You guys get the idea, but I want you to really, if you're not sharing, that's fine. But what I want you to do is to really think hard about this. When I do this exercise with people, it takes a lot of iteration and figuring out what it is that these attributes are. So let's go down to the next one. So if you're not going to share the moment when you were the happy, so that's okay. But what I would like to say is here. I went through my divorce. I am open and honest about it. It makes me a better person. That's a cliche, but really, truly, being able to act on my dreams is really, really important to me. And all the things that have happened to me as a result have led me to where I am today. So there are so many things that you can think about. It could be from your childhood. It could be something related to work, where you went into work and maybe it didn't work out the way you wanted to. So Sahil or anyone else, is there anything that you'd like to share with regards to this question?
I think angriest moments or most of the times when I think things are not done the way I anticipated it to be. And so most of the times we work on campaigns, and being a social media firm, digital marketing firm, we are very much involved in the day-to-day activities of clients also. So when something is expected from somebody and which is very basic and those things are not done, I think those are the most angriest parts. And I get angry a lot on those things. So sometimes if there are few things expected from the team also, and then somebody's working on it for last, I think a lot of time. So somebody is handling a client for 8-9 months, and then they make some mistakes. So then you get very angry that you are handling them for some, and then there is negligence on few fronts. And those are the times I think I become very, very, very angry.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you do about it?
So we just try to make processes which are robust enough, and we try to do things in a way where there are some of the security checks kind of thing, so that not a wrong post goes online without being checked. And because that used to happen a lot, that though there are 4 or 5 filters because before getting posted, then also sometimes those kind of things happen. So we tried to get into processes which did not make the first thing in the first place, that there aren't any errors in the first place, and if there are any, then we used to identify the problem rather than just blaming people that okay, this was due to his negligence or her negligence and those kind of things. So that was the approach that we took after some time, but that was after introspection. And I think currently also I get angry a lot, because that was a discussion which was happening yesterday with somebody, that if you know few things around that these are the things which used to happen or are happening in this way, then you get angry when you don't see things happening correctly. So suppose we get angry with our politicians, we get angry with people around us or our friends and family sometimes, when we know that this is a very simple thing that you could have done but you are not able to do.
Mhm. I'm glad you said that. If I were doing this as a one-on-one, we could dig into things other than work.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But right now, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and see if there are any parallels between the times when you were the angriest and the times where you were the happiest. And it's very clear to me that there are. I mean, the angriest is all in service of your customers. You're a very customer focused person. So when you're angry, and that means that your vision and your satisfaction from life, your happiness is in jeopardy because the people that you're leading are not aligned with the same vision. So, from what I know about you as an individual, you're an entrepreneur. You created a company. You've created several companies. You're always reaching out and you're giving opportunities. You reached out to me, and you keep in touch with me. Now the question is for you, for the 64 other people on the line. Um, like, what is the thing that people are going to know you for? And being reliable and being innovative and being creative and being customer focused, that's the Sahil thing. And you could do that as well. Himanshu, sorry if I said it wrong, but maybe there's something that you have that connects with your desire to serve. That's why I do what I do. Like, I'm not basically what happened was when I was trying to do just simple marketing work and convincing people to redo their brand with me in companies, I wasn't getting the traction that I've gotten when I started with the Your Brand Coach. So at this point, is there anything well, you see what I've done with Sahil. I'd like you to do that for yourself. Try and connect the happy moments and the sad. Is there any one, Himanshu maybe would be appropriate to, to share, what are some of your saddest, angriest, most desolate moments, and how did that connect with when you're happiest?
I think my angriest moments are when my friends ditch me for something, like when I want something. So basically, I'm partners with my friends, and I like to help out a lot of people. But my friends at times have a different perspective to it. They feel the business is more important. For me, making a brand as well as creating a name is more important, and that's when we have like our clashes. And that's sometime that I'm really angry because it's not going my way. But since we are a team, we are partners together, I just have to just calm myself down and look at another opportunity. That's it.
Yeah, that's good. Now both of you have said something about my way. And so I'm 42, and so I'm a little bit. Well, I don't know how old people are on the call. It doesn't really matter. But one thing I want to be clear about is that things don't go your way a lot, and those are the times when you can learn the most. So I would imagine, Sahil, at least from your perspective, when you had the process improvement, it wasn't because you were anticipating those things to go wrong. You trusted that they would go right, but they didn't. And so in all these situations, I'll tell you something, Himanshu, when I started figuring out who I wanted to work with, there were plenty of people that I worked with that just didn't connect with my vision. And those people just sort of trickled away with time. And so I make it a very clear, it's very clear that, like, the reason why I'm working with Sahil is that I connect with his identity and his values, and I understand it. And I know that, I can trust him with my clients' work. Because ultimately what I've hired him to do is something that my name is associated with. And so all the people that I connect with in my life, I use that. And by the way, it's not just people I work with, it's my girlfriend. It's just friends, social friends. If you can't really connect with their values, then you might have to reevaluate. Now that's not to say that you can't have friends that you disagree with. That's totally different. Having thoughtful discourse and discussion is a great way to grow. And so you can talk about politics and you could disagree, but the real test of a relationship is, can you move on together after you have that disagreement? So now let's to recap. We have some areas here. Number one, we've identified the happiest you were. And as I said, the happiest could be when the birth of your child. It could be when you got married. It could be a moment when you were singing. You know, it could be loads of things. It doesn't have to just be at work, right? And then we have the saddest, angriest. And when you think about the saddest, angriest, you think about how it made you feel, and then you think about what is it that you did in order to address the situation, and that's where you grow. And then we think about the parallels between the two. So now I have some more words, some words on the page, and some words here are better than others. What I'd like you to do is to look at the words and, without thinking too hard, what is a word that just speaks to you? Sahil, why don't you do that?
Yeah, so I think everybody can do that. If you find the words which are relatable to you guys, you can write them down in the comments, and then we can see. So you can write it in the chat box, and we will be able to see which are the things that you guys relate to. So we will take a 2-minute thing, read, and see which are the words that you are related to. Okay. So
Okay, good. Oh, this is great. I'm getting a lot of that. Friendships, hard work, joy, positivity, make a difference. How to disconnect sadness from, oh, okay.
Curiosity is something independent.
Okay, we got cheerful, discipline, curiosity. So you pick these words: independence, balance, emotion, humor, daring, creativity. Yeah, there's a reason why you're picking these words. Creativity, order, loyalty. So think back to legacy. That's an important word. You know, legacy is a word where, you know, I always think to myself, if I were to die tomorrow, what would my legacy be? And I certainly wouldn't have been happy if someone said, Jay was an employee of MasterCard, and for 8 years he created global campaigns. That's not my legacy. My legacy is a lot bigger. And so the idea that I'm doing this, it's not just about money, it's about legacy, it's about challenge, it's about honesty. But the other thing I'd like to point out is that you can't have every value, you know, or you just can't. Oh, workaholic. Oh, that's an interesting one. But you can have every value if you want, but you can't define yourself by every value. So the hard part now is to try and think about what are the 3 to 5, not 10, not 20 values that you can really focus on. The other thing that I'd like to say is, like, when Tripti wrote freedom, a lot of people have said freedom when in working, but what I really want to know is why freedom, about freedom. Like, you know, really explore what it is. Like, do you feel that you don't have freedom now? Do you feel that if you had freedom, like, so for example, if you work at a 9 to 5 and you go in every week and you do the same thing and you don't feel like you get along with your boss, is that freedom? Probably not. So then how are you going to get freedom? Another example is excellence. One of my students kept on using the word excellence, and I'm like, okay, great, but what is excellence to you? What you know, what does it mean? Like, what are you excellent at? Enthusiasm, stuff like that. Those are all very strong words. So Sahil, do you want to share yours?
Yeah. So I think mine are, one thing is strategic. Practicality is another word. Which comes next is balance, and so being the best, both the things. So always I strive for those things. Other thing is which I always go after is being expert in the things. So expertise will be one. So if I get into something, is then comes leadership is also one. So I think these are the words which are few where I believe in, and I think can be relatable to what I do a lot.
Okay, I want to ask you another question.
Yeah.
Why are you doing what you're doing? What factors led you to be the person you are? When you were a child, is there anything you want to share about what motivated you, who motivated you, why you took the route that you took?
Yeah. So I think from childhood only, I belong to a business family, and there was a core belief that business is something that you will always end up doing. And while doing those things, and in college life also, I got an opportunity. I wrote it on LinkedIn also recently that I got an opportunity to be part of a multi-level marketing firm, and I was one of their salesmen. And during that time I started reading, and then I read a lot of books. I used to read books from Seth Godin, Robin Sharma, and other things. So I think those books and those kind of things shaped the way I look at things, or I want to do things in life. And there are few things which I took from all of the things which I read. So currently also in the team we were discussing that somebody who used to be very idealistic for a team member suddenly has started doing something which is very bad. And I was reading one interview of PV Narasimha Rao, who was former Prime Minister of India. And during his interview in 2002 2003 time, when he was alive, he was saying that there isn't a term called being a Nehruite or being a Gandhian, because you cannot follow a single person now, because the ideology which they started off with might would have changed now. And that is something which I relate to a lot. So if I start reading Seth Godin, if I start reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I try to take few values which are relevant to me, and which will be relevant to the people around me, and not all the things, and start implementing those.
Yes,
So
that's true.
yeah. So I think because of those things, my family is into business. So first thing in COVID, we were told that we would not remove anybody from the firm. So if you can do something, at least get them a new job by the context that you have, if you're trying to remove somebody. So those are the things which we tried, and those are the values which we believe in. So values are something which I am driven by a lot as a person. I think all of the people who
Nice.
are around us currently, so I think everybody would have one of the two values which they would have seen through their lifetime. So suppose most of them would be around 20-25. So you get values from the friends, you get values from your parents, you get values from your family. And I think those are the things because of which I see the things they are.
Yeah, great. Really thoughtful. I think you're right about trusting one source of advice. I think that, you need to be well read and all that. It turns out that the stuff Seth Godin is saying is not necessarily the stuff that he invents. I mean, he's just taking stuff that, like, target marketing is tribes. And there's a lot of things that, like, he packages it great, and it helps me. Like the Simple Marketing Promise, which is a part of my framework, is from Seth Godin. But this framework, I've read lots of books, and this is my, there are a lot of things from Life Scale, which is from Brian Solis in here, but this is sort of my amalgamation of all those things. So I think that's really important. Let's move on. So now the time is, it's a time for you to select 3 to 5 values and write a short statement on how you apply these values in your life. I'm not asking you to do this right now, but what I'm asking you to do is to spend a couple of hours over the next week or so, or more. I find that a lot of people that leave my workshop lose sleep because they're coming up with values, and they're saying, okay, which is the value I should list first? Which is the value I should list second? What can I do to make those values memorable? This is not like the mission, vision, values exercise that your company has, or a company has, that doesn't, when you say to this person, what are your core values? And they say, I don't remember. That's impossible. You can't, that's not, you have to be able to candor, curiosity, collaboration, and this is why. And so I actually added one core value, and that is continuous learning. So I'm playing with the 4 instead of the 3 C's. And that's okay too, because in life you continually learn. So 3 to 5 core values, memorable, and then write statements about them. Now there are too many here, in my opinion, but these were written by Brian Solis for his book, Life Scale. And for him, what happened when he wrote the book Life Scale was he realized that he was not able to be as creative and thoughtful as he wanted to be because he was distracted. And he was trying to write the book, and every time he sat down to write the book, he just wasn't able to, he was misfiring. He wasn't able to think clearly. And so he realized that being mindful and being there for his family, when you read love, to feel love and give love unselfishly and unconditionally as well as passionately, and you see him, you know that this is him. You know, I got to know Brian. I met him at a conference, and he's just a very passionate guy, and he's really into his work, but he's also a father. So he realized he needed to recalibrate family, to be active in the lives of my family. So if to carve out time to help them and invest in relationship and thrive. Well, guess what? He had to do that based on COVID, but at the same time he did that with COVID, he also got a new job. He's now the global ambassador for Salesforce.com. So the demands of work and the demands of your family are things that need to be reconciled. So that's his. You get to decide what yours are. Mine, candor, curiosity, collaboration, and continuous learning, those apply across my life. So, as I said, it informs the people I work with. It informs my girlfriend. Like, what was I looking for? What does she give me? What can I give her? It certainly is helpful when you have candor and you can have an open discussion about something that is on your mind, rather than not talking about it. And you guys should look at the book called Radical Candor. The opposite of candor is 3 things. It's either obnoxious aggression, which is, oh my God, look at that person, or it's manipulative insecurity. It's when you don't say something because you're afraid of what's gonna happen to you. And then there's ruinous empathy, and ruinous empathy is I'm not going to say anything because I'm afraid of what's going to happen to the person. So the best way to think about it is if your friend's fly is down, and you notice it, and if you go, oh my God, look, your fly is down, that is obnoxious aggression. If you don't say anything because you're afraid of what's going to happen to that person, that's ruinous empathy. And manipulative insecurities, if you don't say anything because of what you're afraid of what's going to happen to you. In my mind, there's only one option, which is radical candor, which is care personally and challenge directly. And even if I get in trouble a little bit because I go a little too far, I still know that that's my guiding value. And I also know that, like I said in the beginning, it's not about the tactics that you're doing. It's about the impact that you're having. So if someone hired me and I just said, hey, let's do some Instagram ads, like, well, what are the ads going to say? And why are we going to be different than everyone else? Especially in this time of COVID, where all the marketing, a lot of the marketing that I'm seeing is just so generic, and it's just like, we're in this together. It's like, okay, great. Everyone's saying that. What about you? What is your company doing? So let's move on. I want to show you an example. This is from one of my clients. She is a coach, and what she did was very special because she took the values that you would see on the page, and she combined them and made strategic decisions on which words she would include and how they all work together. And then she created an image. Or she didn't create an image, she found an image that really helped her to articulate this. The thing that's really great about this is soft and powerful. How awesome is that? Like, who thinks of soft and powerful together? And then I asked her, I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, then I said, is it that you are looking for female clients as a coach? And she said, no, that's not what it is. It turns out that 5 out of 6 of my clients are male. So what does that mean? Soft and powerful mean if you're a female and you're working with males, or so you think about these kinds of things, and it might mean I'm easy to talk to, but don't mistake my kindness for weakness. So I'm easy to talk to, but I know what I'm here to do here, and it's not to just blow smoke at you, right? It's really to help you. And so she picked this picture of this woman that really embodies that soft and powerful motif. So next, if we go to connection, love, humor, depth, family, the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. So that is really important, because she has made some decisions in her life that says that she wants to prioritize love, and she wants to laugh, and she wants to have depth in relationship, and family is really super important. And there were things that happened in her life before then that led her to these decisions. Quite possibly the idea that she wasn't satisfied with the life she had before, working in a sales position at a SaaS company. The energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. Like, think about it. Have you ever not felt seen, heard, and valued? And how does that make you feel? So that's the second one. Third one is explore pictures, of yourself and stuff like that. Curious, beauty, wonder, originality. Not all those who wander are lost. It's a really, really great mix here of personal and professional, because guess what? You are a mix of personal and professional. So this is informing her business. So what are we doing next? It's so awesome. She created what we call the simple marketing promise. And the simple marketing promise is, my product is for people who believe blank. I will focus on people who want blank. And I promise that if you engage with my product, it will help you get blank. So if you come up with those statements, it's a very clear way to define what your business is. And we came up with a strategic idea that your business, or her business, and we're developing a logo for it, and we're developing a design for it, and all that, and a tone. We made a strategic decision that every single image associated with her business is going to be a photo she took, instead of using stock photos. So now I just want to show some ideas of like, okay, this is how you potentially can connect these things. Think about the definition of your core values, the work, how it applies to work, how it applies outside of work, how it applies in general in your life. It's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. So now is the what's next part. So I want to thank you for participating in this, but the real thanks will come when you actually take this and make this into something meaningful, okay? So what I'd like to offer you is an internship opportunity. Now, there are 47 people on the phone or on the Zoom, so thank you for the ones that have stayed with it, even despite the technical difficulties, which I apologize for. what I'd like to do, I haven't
your
decided how
voice is
many
cracking
interns
again.
I'm going to take on, but process, free coaching to refine your core values, because usually in my second session, oh, disconnect? Hello?
I think if you can close your video and only if you can see your audio, that will be better.
Okay.
Okay. Till the time Jay comes back and tells us more about the internship opportunity. Okay. So how many of you found real value from this? And if you all would like to connect with Jay, you all
It
can.
was really
Sorry.
interesting. Like, it was really nice, and we understood so many things from that. It was quite nice.
Okay. I think Tripti found it very interesting. Any other person? I think Jay is back.
I'm back. I'm sorry. That was very nice to hear you say that. Thank you. And thanks, Sahil, for I'm not at home in New York City. The internet is more reliable. I'm in Rhode Island. This reliable. So what I'm offering here
Jay,
is
your voice is cracking
what
again.
the other people come up with, and the core values that we came up with at first don't end up being the core. And
Hello.
it's not because you're saying to me. It's just that I understand how to get to your motivation. I'll help you get very specifically to what you're looking for. The second thing is we'll then translate the principles of this work. Okay, hopefully. Hello, I'm here.
Yeah. So we are able
hear
to
me?
hear you. We are able to hear you, but there sometimes the voice cracks a bit, and then sometimes it speeds up a lot. So I think now we are able to hear you better. You can continue now. Okay. Okay. I think he disconnected and he will connect again.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we are able to hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Jay, we are able to hear you.
Okay. Okay, you hear me now? Okay, let's continue. So sorry about that. So week 1, we will review your core values. Week 2, we'll translate your core values into the simple marketing promise. Week 3, what I'm looking for you to do is, the Indian market better than me. So I'd like you to create, to think about content creation, course design, what we're going to do on a learning management system, what our content calendar is, and what our engagement strategy is. Weeks 5 through 7 is we're going to plan a for-profit event to promote your brand coach to peers and friends. We're going to define the product, the price, the format, and the promotion. Then we're going to establish a pitch and promotion, and we're going to host the event and write up the key learnings from the summer. So your application is to create your core values and then to post them on LinkedIn or Instagram and share them with the world. The reason why you're doing this is for yourself, but I want you to start getting comfortable with the fact that you have something to say, and it's not a bad thing to post it and really share what motivates you. And then what I'll do is I'll look at most engaging, most thoughtful, look at your writing skills and your creativity, and then I'll pick a cohort of a certain amount of people, and we'll divide and conquer to create a valuable program. And the thing that I want to also let you know is that there's a stake in the game I have to define it, but I'd like to compensate you based on the success of it. So if we determine a certain percentage of the profits that come from whatever it is we do, and by the way, the workshop could look just like this. I'll make sure that I have better internet, but we can work and like facilitate it. Or maybe you guys could be a part of facilitating it, because maybe having, in the Indian market, maybe, there's a certain part I could play and a certain part you could play. But I'd really like to establish this, and just like Sahil talked about scale, like what is the scale version of this? And then there are plenty of other things that I work on a daily basis that I could use help on. For example, I'm working with Sahil on a project to design a website or to implement a website that's been designed, and I have lots of clients. So as we work, depending on what's going on, I can engage you on certain attributes based on your strengths and interests. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Good.
Great.
So yeah, I'll look forward, and don't post on LinkedIn right away or Instagram. Spend some time, think about these core values, think about what it is that really makes you tick. Think about the order you put these things in. Think about, is there a way to make it more memorable? I don't like forced acronyms, but if it happens to work, like, and it's like, the first one is about, starts with an F, the next one starts with a U, the next one starts with an N, like fun, and then you really have something that's memorable, and then you connect the dots. That's what we're looking for here, and then you start to post these things and think, and the goal here is to get engagement. Like, it's not about you once you share it on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever it may be. It's not about people reading about how great you are. Like, think about what it is that you want them to feel, them to do. Maybe you want them to engage in this. Maybe even before we start marketing this as a team, maybe there's a call to action that you want. And Sahil, you did your LinkedIn message last week. I mean, some of those same things will apply there. And we talk all the time. Sahil, why don't you actually give a 1 minute on like what people can do to really make the post work?
So I think I have shared Jay's LinkedIn account also with you guys. So number one thing that you all can do is what I will be doing is I will be taking screenshots of the two things which Jay shared today and telling my core values which are there, and I will ask people what are their core values. I will do that tomorrow morning. So it is a good time to engage on LinkedIn. I will be tagging Jay in, and I have shared his content with his LinkedIn account with you all. So what this will trigger is this will create a ripple effect with people around you also, that you attended something and that is why you are getting this value out of it. Okay. So that is something which I will be doing. You all guys can do different things in a different way. Somebody who is good at graphics can create content on Canva, which I use a lot. I did a few sessions around it. You can create a video also, and you can tell people around what are the core skills that you feel are important to you. You can create a small video around it and those kind of things. So creativity does not have any boundaries. Understand those parts and try to do. So that will be it. So Jay, would you like to take some questions? People have them.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully
Okay.
we can will work, and I'm happy to.
Yeah. So Nishita, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, sir. Hello, sir. Good evening. I'm Nishita, and my question is how to be self-motivated. Hello.
Yeah.
What was that? How do you what?
So she's asking Jay how to be self-motivated.
Yeah. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. She's asking how to be self-motivated.
How to be self-motivated. How do you be self-motivated? Well, you have to know what you stand for. So if you come up with core values that inspire you on a daily basis, and you start living those core values, then you become self-motivated. I wasn't happy with the life I was living, and I made decisions to change that life. And I spent 2 years, more than 2 years, pushing a boulder up a mountain. And I'm still not out still not to the mountaintop, but I certainly today feel really good about where I'm headed. And so this is the start of that right now.
Great. So anybody has any question? Anybody wants to ask something? Okay, so we are right on time. So few things that Himanshu has something. Himanshu?
Yeah, actually, first of all,
Himanshu, your voice is not audible. Can you
is it
speak?
audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had this question. Is it possible to share this presentation on a mail if you can, so that I can go through it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Jay, he's asking, will
Yeah,
it be
we
possible
can-
to share?
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Sahil, and you can send it to the group.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Great. Okay, so I think we had a great session. I also learned that. So I have my points written, which I will be implementing on tonight. I think everybody else will also have a good Sunday night where you all go through these things, find your core values. Okay, that is why I told in the mail also that this session is going to change a lot of things around how you see things. So one point which,
Definitely.
yeah, so
Definitely,
one,
this session has completely changed us so much, like so much core values, and this he has completely changed our mind by speaking the core values and everything. It is completely a good thing.
okay,
It's very good thing to attend this session.
thanks a lot.
Actually, I was trying to avoid the session because, but I thought no, I should attend it, and actually, it's very good. Trust me. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Tripti, for that feedback. We will be coming every week with a few of these things around other things. So what I was trying to convey you all is, so one major thing which he said, which is a key takeaway from me is, if you have this core value set, it will be very easy for you to take decisions. So most of the things which I subconsciously was doing was the same thing, because my core values were set in few things, and then it helped me in taking decisions very easily. So and a lot of team members also knew this thing. So this is something which Sahil won't allow, and this is something which he won't accept. So if you all also try to find those things, it will be very helpful for you also and people around you also. So I think there was a correlation in what we used to do, and I think now I have, as Jay said, connecting the dots. So those are the dots which are connected for me. So thanks a lot, Jay, for this session. I think most of the people who are there, so we had around in and out 180 people who tried to come in and go out, but it was a great session. Thanks a lot for spending time with us today on Sunday. And I think I will pass on your message for internship also to everybody. And if they want to apply, they can directly apply also through the process which you mentioned.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Look forward to speaking with you guys.
Thanks a lot,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.